What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another weekly edition of All Aboard. And today we are going to be talking about something that I've been working on for the last 2, maybe even 3 years at this point. And what that is building an audience. And so there's a lot of talk about personal brands. There's a lot of talk about using social media to drive business. There's a lot of talk about building an audience so you can later monetize that audience. And I am here to say that I believe in this idea wholeheartedly. And I'm going to give a few tips and a few thoughts about building an audience today and why I think you should do it. Okay. There's tons of resources out there on how to do it, free and paid. I'll talk a little bit about that. But the goal of today is to convince you to start putting yourself out there and building an audience, whether that is sharing funny content, whether that's building your business in public, whether that's sharing words of wisdom or helping out other people in your community. It is a net positive, and I would love everybody to start building an audience. So let's dive right in and let's get into why and how to build an audience. So as we get into this today, I think it's about building an audience, but it's not just about building an audience. It's about building an audience in one, a way that people want to do business with you. Two, in a way that doesn't take all of your time. So you don't have to become a content creator as your job. You can still do whatever it is that you want to do as your career, but you can build an audience. And three, in a way that you feel good about personally when it comes to the brand that you want to build for yourself. So the idea here is, how do we build an audience in 30 minutes a day or less? And when you first get started, I think this is important to note, it probably will take more than 30 minutes a day. But once you kind of get it down and you get your routine going, 30 minutes a day is really all that you need. And it's about what I spend every single day doing this. And sometimes it's 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And I'll talk a little about that a little bit more. But before I do want to be upfront about this. So a lot of this content has been taken from a presentation that I did last week with Nick Saka's Insurance Creators Mastermind. And so on that presentation, it was about an hour long, 35 slides. Today, we're talking about 3 of those slides. And what I would tell you is, if you are looking for some help, whether you want something a little bit informal, he's got a Facebook group out there that's got a lot of people in it. A lot of people are very active in it, giving tips and advice on content creation. And then he also has a mastermind, which is a paid group, but gets a lot of hands-on training, advice, small groups, presentations, those types of things. This is not a paid sponsorship. And I'm just putting it on because I think that it would do a lot of good for a lot of people. So just wanted to get that out of the way. So before we go further, right, I think when we think about building an audience, we've got to have the right mindset. And the right mindset is basically about building relationships. And so when we have a mindset of, I'm trying to get something from you, people can feel that. The best networkers are not thinking about what's in it for me. They're thinking about, okay, what does this person do? That's so interesting. I'm curious about them. And then what they're doing is saying, okay, like that's really interesting. You know who else you should know? You should know this person. Be a connector. The best way to network is to connect people to other people that will be able to use each other's products and services and get value out of each other and do all those things, right? Networking sucks when we're just trying to be like, oh, like, what do you do? Oh, can't help me. Never mind. Beyond. So think about how you can be a connector. Okay. And then I always come back to this idea of Google's 7-11-4. Okay. And the 7-11-4 rule is very simple. It says, this is what needs to happen before somebody feels like they know, like, and trust you. And if they don't know, like, and trust you, they're probably not going to do business with you. So what does 7-11-4 actually mean? Well, what it means is that you need 7 hours of interaction with somebody before they feel like they know you or they have a relationship with you, okay? And so how do we actually get those 7 hours in a world where we might not see everybody in person every day? Nobody has 7 hours to be in front of somebody every day, nor do they want to be around you for 7 hours, right? But we can do that in the sense that we are giving people long-form content, right? So if you're making a YouTube video or you are making even short-form video like a TikTok or a Reel, those are minutes that are just racking up. You know, you're watching my video right now, maybe you're reading the newsletter, but these are interactions that we have together. It's racking up time. And if you followed the newsletter for a while, or we've interacted at events, we've probably spent time together. And if we haven't spent time together, we probably will in the future, right? But 7 hours of time together, okay? And it doesn't have to be in person. It can be in a digital format, okay? The next thing is 4 locations. So 4 locations, right? Again, It can be physical or it can be digital. It can be a phone call. It can be in person at an event. It can be Facebook messages, Facebook posts, comments, YouTube, Instagram, 4 places. They're seeing you around the place, okay? These are all the things. So 7 hours in 4 locations. And the last one is 11 touch points, okay? So basically, it's 11 interactions in 4 different mediums or locations with a total time spent interacting of about 7 hours. And when you do that, people tend to feel like they know you or that they have a relationship with you. And it doesn't always take 7 hours, 4 locations, or 11 touch points. Sometimes it's faster than that. Sometimes you meet somebody and you're fast friends, right? You immediately get on. Sometimes it takes longer than that, or you're never going to get along or have a good relationship with that person. But when we think about building an audience, this is why being in multiple places can be so valuable. And so I was talking to a podcast host the other day, and he's like, I don't really do the social media thing. And I'm like, look, I think that's fine because you know what? He has a newsletter and he has in-person events and he puts a podcast out there. So there's all these ways that people can find him and interact with him. And what he's trying to do is the same thing I'm trying to do, trying to add value to people and interact with people and build relationships in a largely global and digital world, which brings me to my next point is that I think that something is going to happen here pretty soon. And I actually saw a LinkedIn post about this today. Mark Cuban said the same thing. And I'd like to believe that I had this opinion before I heard Mark Cuban say it, but it's possible that I read it somewhere and then I think that it's my own idea. This happens sometimes. My team says, Andrew, what a great idea. And then it's a joke because they actually said it 30 minutes earlier in the conversation and I thought I just didn't hear it. So anyways, here's the big idea, okay? I think that local and offline interactions will be striking back. And the reason for that is AI. So if we think about where we are today, okay, there's a pendulum. And the pendulum has swung towards this global idea, right? We have local and global. Local is our immediate community, 5-mile radius from our house, the people that we see in person, grocery store, local businesses, all of the people in your community. And then global is like this online digital world. And I read this book by the founder of a product management company called Basecamp. And he talked about how there's this trade-off between your global and local communities. And he said, I was living in Singapore and I was super active in this like global online community. People knew who I was. If I went somewhere, I had instant name recognition in all these digital circles. But if I walked down the street, nobody knew who I was. And I think we could probably all think about these really, really well-known people in our communities that everybody knows, but if they were online, nobody would have any idea who they were. So there's this idea of global versus local trade-offs in building audiences. You can have both, right? Like you can have both. Sounds like a lot of work to build, but you can have both, right? But I think what's going to happen is right now, everything leans digital, online, social media, and that's great, right? I think it's been a great equalizer. Anybody can go online and start a Facebook group. Anybody can go on and create a TikTok. A 12-year-old child could go on and create a TikTok and be making $1 million by the time they're 18 if they are creating content that is valuable. But I think in the world of AI, as AI photos and AI voice and AI video continues to get better and better and better, I think there will start to become this idea that maybe the person that we're talking to on a screen is actually AI and not a real person. And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't think we're that far off. And so I do think the pendulum is going to swing back to local, in-person, legacy media and personal networks. And so the point of this is not to say, look, stop building a global community and build a local community. The idea here is to be active online, but don't ignore your local community either. So I have done a lot of work to build an audience. I've posted on LinkedIn. I am doing my newsletter. I try to add value. I go to events. I try to meet agents. I talk with agents. I email agents, right? It's like constantly just trying to talk to agents. And in my local community, I don't know hardly anybody. And so what I'm trying to do this year is I'm trying to continue to build relationships with people in the insurance industry, but I also want to build relationships in my local community as well. I want to know other business owners. So like I'm thinking about starting a podcast where I interview other local business owners. And the reason I'm doing it is not because I want to start a podcast, but I want to meet other business owners and I want to get better at interviewing people. I think it would just be really cool to get better at interviewing. And so what better way to do that than a podcast and throw it out there? And you know what? Maybe there's an added benefit that people will know me, eventually like me, and eventually trust me. And then I can be active in my community and then pivot that to drive referrals for PG Insurance. I don't know, but that's something that's on my mind right now. So this big idea is think about how AI is changing interactions with people in I would be willing to bet anything that local is going to make a massive comeback. Okay. So let's actually get into the sauce here. I'm going to give you my content schedule. Like, this is what I actively do every week. And it feels like a ton. And I didn't think it felt like a ton until I showed my wife, and she was like, that's a lot. And I was like, yeah, I guess that is a lot. But I have a little secret here that will make this a lot better. Is I downloaded this thing called Whisper Flow AI. And here's what I'll say is that it has privacy mode, and it says it doesn't share your data. But look, I was born at night, but not last night. And it's probably listening to everything that I say. But that being said, I'm willing to make the trade-off because it allows me to basically voice to text in a way that doesn't suck. And you know what? Maybe if you're good at voice to text, and I mean, I use an Apple phone. I think Apple sucks, but maybe I mumble. I don't know. I'm starting to digress here, but you get the point. Is that I use Whisperflow to leave comments, to write emails, and the average person types at about 70, 80 words per minute. Well, you can talk at about 180 to 200 words per minute, and it makes it that much more efficient to do this type of content. So, what I'll say here is that LinkedIn is probably my favorite platform. And I love LinkedIn because I learn something new on LinkedIn every single day. There's no politics on LinkedIn, probably because there's a politics filter. People are sharing, trying to learn, and it's generally a pretty positive place. It is a little bit cringy, right? Like people will take the craziest things and be like, oh man, my cat broke its leg, and this is what it taught me about hustling for sales, right? You get a lot of that cringy stuff, and I'm sure that some of my stuff's been cringy too. But I used to post every day, and I posted for 450 straight days, okay? I let that go because at the end of the day, I started LinkedIn and I started posting every single day because I wanted to improve my writing skills. Same reason I started a newsletter. I wanted to improve my writing skills. The same reason I'm doing video right now is I want to get better and more comfortable on video. So I'm using these mediums of LinkedIn writing and newsletters to get better at something. And the added benefit of that is the relationships and the audience building and the know, like, and trust that comes with it, right? So LinkedIn, I post 3 times a week now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if I miss a day, I miss a day. It's not the end of the world. What I do not try to miss are commenting. Commenting is more valuable, in my opinion, than posting on any type of platform. And, I'd be really curious what like some of the people who are really, really good on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube have to say about that. But I know like on Facebook and on LinkedIn, sometimes commenting is more valuable. It gets you significantly more reach. If you are posting consistently, but you are not commenting on other people's stuff, you are really limiting yourself. Okay. So I try to comment on 5 LinkedIn posts per day. And I don't just say great job. I try to actually add value or ask the creator a question that gets them to expand their point. That helps them with their engagement. It helps them with their reach. And it also creates a conversation that is a net positive. Okay. On Facebook, I'm trying to post 3 times a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, whereas LinkedIn's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And, I think there is a balance here. If you post too much, people get tired of you, right? And you start maybe posting things that don't actually add value, right? I would rather post less frequently, but add value. But I think it's the same thing, right? Comment 5 times a day. Comment on other people's stuff. Comment on groups. Add value. Be helpful. If you're trying to build a local community and you're in like a mom's group or a dad's group, that's a great place to give advice on insurance or financials or any of these things that you think you're pretty good at. Okay. Reddit, in my opinion, is uncharted territory. Okay. You can go to all of the subreddits for your city, like Savannah, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, Kennesaw, Georgia. And if somebody asks about insurance and your Reddit name is Peachy Insurance, you can sit there and be helpful. And so I'll give an example. Somebody asked what the average home insurance price in Savannah was. And so what I did is I went and ran some numbers and I said, look, a house that's like this is this, a house that's like this is that, and a house that's like this is this over here, right? And what's going to happen is that it's going to sit there forever because people go out to Google and they type in Savannah home insurance Reddit. And people go to Reddit because it's hard for it to all be an ad. Like if you Google anything today, you go find a recipe online, it's like a book. And then before you get to the recipe, why? Because they're trying to show up for search engine optimization. They're trying to make sure people click on it so they can sell ads. Reddit is actual people and they will call bullshit if they think you're just trying to sell something. So the goal here, as always, is add value, okay? I post 1 time per week on Reddit and I try to comment on 3 posts per day. Okay, and the last one is Instagram. I'm horrible at Instagram, not because I don't have pictures to share, but because I hate formatting the photos. And I know it's not that hard. It's something I need to get better at, but I am commenting, right? So what do? I follow a lot of realtors and a lot of lenders, and I'm commenting on their stuff. And I'm not even trying to ask them to refer me business. I'm just trying to build a relationship. Okay. I'm trying to help them with their content. So this is my content schedule. I eventually will add a podcast at some point in some format, whether that's insurance related, whether that's local related, whether that's just me recording the All Aboard newsletter in a voice format. Just a little quick funny thing, I added an AI voice. It was horrible. It was so bad that I was like, I can't send this out. It's just horrible. Anyways, so let's drive this thing home. So the thing I would say here is consider using a virtual assistant or using AI, right? Either one, but content management can be a challenge. And if you get started and you start to realize that you're getting a lot of reach and a lot of traction, you might want to 10x your activity on social media. And a virtual assistant can be an amazing way to do that. We have 7 virtual assistants between Peachy Insurance and Next Call Club. And, if you're an insurance agency, you've got to make sure that you're following compliance and laws and all those things. But Next Call Club, right? Like there's all types of things they can help us with. And so people always ask. And so I say, look, they can scout out topics, posts, and trending ideas. Hey, look at this, look at that. Hey, these are 8 things that you might want to comment on. You can use AI to do this too, but you need to be a little bit more technical. Facebook group strategy is a good one, right? Like if you can teach somebody what to comment, they can go into Facebook groups that are local to you and add value and help out, or again, flag for you to go in and do yourself. Third is graphic creation. I know my administrator, she started really as like my executive assistant, and, she told me that she loves marketing and she does an amazing job with graphic creation. So she's doing more and more marketing work and less admin work, and that's great for me because she's helping me with my content, my slides, my graphics, presentations, etc. Okay. And then another one is coordinating posting schedules. So on LinkedIn, you can schedule your post. On Facebook, if you're not doing a business account, like you got to go in there and physically post it. So maybe you churn out your content on a Sunday or a Saturday or a Friday, and then a VA helps you post it. Okay. And research is a huge one. They can go out and find all types of things. So I hope that this gave you some tactics, some strategy, some inspiration to go out and start building your audience. Look, it doesn't have to be this crazy thing. You don't have to feel like you have to make a viral hit. You don't. Just be consistent and show up and ask for help, because when you put yourself out there, people will see that. They'll celebrate it. They'll feel like they know you. You'll build relationships, and it's going to be a net positive. You have no idea the doors it can open, the friends that you'll meet, and what you'll learn about yourself along the way. I know that sounds corny, but I mean it. It's true. Until next week, thanks so much for listening, guys. Talk soon.